Professor Milk, oh. Hello class. As another year passes, so begins another season. For some, they've been at it for 3, 4, 5, even 6 years. Constantly thinking they'd quit, getting so close to stopping, fighting the urges, but alas, they're back at it again, picking up the needle of solo queue for another pipe dream-filled quest destined for salvation, known to them as Elo Heaven. It all started for us, like I said, 4, 5, or 6 years ago. You get a text. It's from your closest buddy's Motorola Razr, and it says, "Hey, little XD." And you respond from your T-Mobile sidekick saying, "Fuck dude, seriously, my mom pays for every text I send or receive, that's my phone plan. Say what you want to say, or I'll take you out of my top 8 on MySpace. I'm not fucking around this time, fuck. LOL. Sorry, my bad, Kappa." He quickly T9s back to you. What's Kappa? I have no idea, but you gotta try League of Legends, man. It's a new game and it's a lot of fun. We can grind to level 30 and try to play ranked. Riot even said they're working on a cool replay system, so we can record some of our plays. But from then on, our timelines get darker and darker. Personally, I don't advocate against drugs because hey, for some of us, it works. So if you plan to begin this arduous journey for Season 6 Challenger, there is only one tool you need, and that tool is Fizz Jungle. Now, let's all pretend that we're still happy, almost like those text messages never really happened. Thank you for joining me in Fizz, a new approach. I'm Professor Milk. Let's get started. Fizz. Most claim that this champion is overpowered. People think there is only one way to play Fizz. All you have to do is press E, and before you can even land, Mark Merrill is handing you the World Championship trophy. But if you really dive into the depths of Fizz and try to learn more, you'll find that that assumption is fabricated simply on low elo-minded conjecture. Let's go over his abilities thoroughly before we start assuming too much. Q. Urchin Strike. This is the technique most guys use to slip and slide into hot grill gamers' DMs, be it Twitter, Snapchat, and so on. This point-and-click yet flashable skill propels Fizz forward towards his target and up the ranked ladder, dealing magic damage. Urchin Strike applies on-hit and spell effects, but does not crit. And that fact that his Q doesn't crit alone makes AD Fizz more disappointing than Jhin on release. Be mindful that this spell can be cancelled and cause you to get your eyes clawed out by Jace. W. Seastone Trident. Passively, this spell does 13.37% missing health damage over time that causes high amounts of tilt when you die to it. Upon activating Seastone Trident, Fizz does bonus damage on hit for 6 seconds. It's kinda like Nashor's Tooth with a bit more bite. We'll talk more about this spell later. E. Playful Trickster. I could talk about this spell for hours. Whole videos could be made on this one spell, but I'll keep it short for now and talk about everything you can do with Playful Trickster in just a moment. Playful Trickster can be used once or twice. On the first use, Fizz leaps onto his pole in the direction of your mouse, becomes unbalanced, falls, and lands, dealing AoE damage and creating a huge slow. If used twice, Fizz goes a bit further, does the same damage, but the radius is smaller and provides no slow. This spell can also be used to go through walls. During Alpha Strike, Fizz is completely untargetable, usually. In this shot, you can see how I use Playful Trickster to dodge Orianna's ultimate. R. Chum the Waters. Cannibalistically, Fizz throws out some fish comrades to attract his shark pal. If an enemy is tagged by the shark, it will shackle upon their legs, causing them to take increased damage, get slowed, and be knocked into the air after a short duration, while Fizz grinds upon your sorry mechanically outplayed ass. Passive. Nimble Fighter. This passive, much like Riot's Death Report system, doesn't actually do anything. Now that we have a firm grasp on what this hero does, let's get into how you go about playing him. Running over the abilities is usually enough to get you started on the champion, but with Fizz, we'll need to go over some advanced tactics, maneuvers, and warnings. We'll open up with some simpler ones, then get more advanced as we go. The classic flash bait. You guys all know this one. You have E, you know they have flash, they're going to flash and use a spell. You're gonna E, they're gonna tilt, and you play some meme-ass song and put it in your montage. Moving on. The Zoning Shark. Some of the internet's youth and the majority of European players think this is but a meme, a simple troll, but using the Zoning Shark you can box someone in like the little bird rat that they are. The Ankle Snapper. We know Ahri is gonna dash again, so we flash towards her to get into Q range. Then boom, Trading Spaces comes back on for another season. Repositioning E. The radius of Fizz's E damage can be repositioned if you flash just before you hit the ground. We'll refer to this as the Old Nasty. The Old Nasty can be used simply to secure kills easier, but you have to keep in mind the escape path when flashing, as you're most vulnerable when your flash and E are both down. In this instance, even though my support goes full-blown Yellow Star and I fail to get enough distance using my E, the Old Nasty can save the day and clean up my mistakes by not only getting the damage on Draven, but getting the extra auto attack to finish him off and escape. Peer pressure. Back when I created Fizz, I thought of an amazing strategy with his ult using peer pressure. The mechanic is you sit around a corner and then you throw your shark behind your target. Now walk forward into your adversary so they get scared, back up, and walk into it. It's an amazing strategy that uses a horribly game-breaking exploit that we'll refer to as Peeker's Advantage. The old switcheroo. On Fizz, when you need to get out of a sticky situation, simply walk into an unwarded bush, wait until the enemy is as close to you as possible, then slip and slide your ass right through them for an easy escape. A very useful, highly montageable strategy that'll quickly turn a fin biter into a painless getaway. Long auto attack range. Even though Fizz is melee, he has an absurdly long auto attack range. Once you master this, you can position your flash in such a way to get auto attacks while still avoiding danger. Believe in the burn. Out of all the Fizz strategies out there, this one requires the most skill and confidence. You have to understand the champion well enough to know when you need to back off, when they can stop the burn, and when you can meme them to death. It'll be hard at first and you're gonna look fucking stupid, but once this skill is mastered, not only will you get more kills, you'll look amazing in your Plat 3 Fizz montage and can start getting scouted by LCS teams. I can't stress this enough. Once you know you've got the kill, just walk away. You know the check's coming in the mail, you know the mail comes at 3 p.m. Don't sit by the mailbox, go watch some anime like the little weeb you are. Believe in the burn. Trust the burn. Tiny Shark. This is a problem that plagues men of all ages. It's embarrassing and ruins your self-confidence. It's called Tiny Shark. Tiny Shark is when you don't drag your mouse far enough and you throw your ultimate too short. Oftentimes it won't be such a big deal. Other times you'll just have to outplay to get yourself through it. You think everything's going great, your shark looks amazing, but just as the action starts, you Tiny Shark. In the worst cases, you flash Tiny Shark, and I don't know how I got through such a dark time. And lastly, this is something you want to avoid at all costs. Here I Crooked Shark, and then follow it up by missing the slow radius on my E while my flash was up. We'll call this fucking up everything. As you can see, this champion is extremely difficult to play. I'd rate Fizz's difficulty about 5 out of 7 if I had to take a stab at it. But now that we understand how to play this weak champion, we need to know how to build him. We'll start off with builds used by lay people, then move towards my build. We have the classic, Old News, Twisted Fate, Sheen to Ween, and the Milk build. You guys know me, I don't like to spew nonsense out of my porthole without science to back it up. That's why I've brought a few pros to add a bit of credibility to my so-called outlandish claims. There was a small problem though, however. Since LCS is going on, I was unable to get good junglers to interview, so we had to settle for second-rate clowns. But nonetheless, let's get into a segment I like to call Wise Words from the Pros. Damn. That looks good. Our first guest is a full-time streamer that plays for G2 Esports in the EU LCS, and is the CEO and co-founder of the Morton Salt Factory established 1948. He entertains his 12-year-old fan base by screaming into his microphone and vaping for the entire stream. Please welcome Trick2 motherfucking G. At $4 per question, we ask him,
Hello, Mr. Trick. I saw that you used to play Fizz back in the day, so I come to you for help.
Okay.
Can you please break down my Fizz build and talk about its pros and cons? Gunblade, now Runic echoes, Sorcs, Gunblade, Nashor's Tooth, Rabadons, and Void.
He responds,
I don't think I played it back in the day. I played it sometimes. Gunblade, now Runic echoes, Sorcs, Gunblade, Nashor's Tooth, Rabadons. I mean, you know, the only CDR item you have in that is, okay, so Nashor's Tooth. I mean, it really depends on the comp you're playing against, man. If that's a legit build you're talking about, or if you just don't care and that's what you always do. But I'd probably Runes and Masters. I'll probably start 10% right off the bat, and then buy. I'll probably buy cooldown boots. With the distortions. Well, I don't know actually. I don't know. I don't play Fizz a lot, but my style would be 40%, 45% CDR and just backflipping on foes. The only thing I question is the Gunblade. Like, Gunblade, you know, it just costs too much, man. You're better off buying a fucking Morales and just getting 20% CDR.
Most people don't know this, but before Trick2G became the living embodiment of Udyr, he actually dabbled in some Fizz. So most of his answers do breathe in merit, but I'm afraid he just doesn't have the capacity to understand the Gunblade purchase. Our second guest used to play for LCS for a well-respected team, but then he decided he wanted to make some money instead, so he became a full-time streamer and 420 expert. I've shown this once before and I still can't get enough of it. Just watch this. He plays trombone. Jesus. Please welcome Meteos. At a rate of $35 per question, we ask him,
Hey man, no good junglers are on because LCS is about to start. So I guess I have to settle for you again. Can you critique my Jungle Fizz build? I need some advice. So far I have Runic Echoes, Sorcs, Gunblade, Nashor's Tooth, Rabadons, and a Void Staff.
He responds,
Seems pretty good. I would keep the Gunblade, get rid of everything else, and put in 5 more Gunblades. I think you're good.
Well, I guess that's the last time we talk to Meteos. How unfortunate. Now let's crack into why this build works and how to use it. But first, we need to quickly cover some basic information. Runes. Hybrid Pen Reds, Armor Yellow, 6 scaling CDR Blues, and 3 scaling AP Blues to give 10% CDR and AP Quints. Masteries. I like to take Fervor and Thunderlord's Decree because they have excellent synergy on Fizz. Summoners. We'll be running the old classic Flash Smite, and you'll be leveling your abilities as such. Those graphics. Finally, we can talk about the build using in-game examples. I know you guys don't like it when I use custom game shots, so like you, I'll save those for my montages. This build spikes disgustingly hard after every item you build, creating a multi-climax situation that I'm sure all my male viewers will love. At all points of the game, Fizz, along with this build, is nerfably strong. His early ganks are amazing with his E-slow, and once he gets Runic Echoes with a Gunblade, it's devastating. Gunblade does a few things for you besides the OP slow. First, it provides amazing sustain as it no longer gives spell vamp and lifesteal. It gives 15% of the damage you deal back as HP on single target spells, 33% effective on AoE spells. And if we ignore Fizz's E and R, all of his spells are single target. Second, it provides gigantic burst, and coupled with Runic Echo's passive, makes snowballing beyond easy. Lastly, it'll help you secure the kills that you wouldn't have had the luxury of securing without it. Now is when we get Nashor's Tooth. Nashor's Tooth synergizes perfectly with Fizz's W, which already has magic damage on him, and it's extremely confusing to me why people don't build it in the first place. His kit has on-hit magic damage for a reason. Aside from that, it gives 20% CDR, capping you at 40% with Lucidity Boots and 10% from your runes. The reason we don't go 45% CDR with the Mastery is because once you have 40%, it puts your W on the same cooldown as its duration, creating a 100% uptime active, giving you huge consistent damage that you will constantly be vamping from your Gunblade. Rabadons and Void Staff are axiomatic. You build them for raw damage. This build not only gives Fizz more burst damage, it also gives him more consistent damage and sustain than you would have with any other build. It'll let you snowball much harder as you never have to back to heal, giving you overwhelming dragon control as you can solo it upon getting Revolver and effortlessly do it with Gunblade. Understanding the power spikes and playstyles of this build will require some getting used to. But why do we practice all this stuff, folks? It's to impress girls, so queue up for an ARAM with your newfound skill, insta-lock Fizz, and impress her brains out for minutes on minutes on minutes. If you want to see this build live, I'll be more than happy to play it for you on stream at twitch.tv/professor_milk. Now, I've saved this to the very end to weed out non-believers, European players, heretics, and so forth. Just a few days ago, I got t-shirts designed that I think look pretty fucking cool. If you don't hate me, don't want me to starve to death, or want to ironically buy one because you do hate me, consider checking it out. Godspeed. Professor Milk. Oh.